some great new innovations in Christmas lights, or we don't even have to call them Christmas lights, outdoor and indoor decorative lighting. How about that? And this year it's amazing, the technology and the changes that we've seen just in the last year or so on Christmas lights. I'm going to show you how some of these work. This is just a standard incandescent light set. So this is like your traditional, holiday lighting that you would use to either decorate a Christmas tree or your home or whatever. One light burns out, the rest stay on, but if one gets broken or pulled out, it's going to turn the whole set off. And these little bulbs, they burn out, and once they burn out, you've got to replace those burnt out bulbs, or otherwise the rest of the set all of a sudden doesn't work. So this is what your standard incandescent, warm, clear light's going to look like. This is a LED light. And the technology in the LED has really changed over the last couple of years. The color's a little bit different. This one's still a warm white, but it's a little bit brighter. As you can see, it's almost a focused tip, and so it's really bright. But the nice thing about the LEDs is they'll burn for 20,000 hours, and you don't have to worry about replacing the bulbs. They're hardwired in, so it much less likely to have electrical issues where it doesn't work. It's just going to continue working for years and years, because you can't pull the individual bulbs out. They're just hardwired in, but since they last for so long, you don't have to worry about replacing those. So as you can see, slightly different color in those, but the intensity, it's really bright compared to a regular light set. These are some of the newer micro LEDs that are coming out, and the micros are kind of unique. This one's on a battery, so there's two AA batteries in here. This is a multicolored set, and it will do all kinds of different functions. So it's got like 8 different functions. I'm going to set it so it just stays on. There we go. Colors, but look how bright the colors are. And they're not as intense. They're much softer, and so the colors don't bother your eyes like your traditional LEDs. But what's unique about these, there's 40 lights to a set, and with the battery pack, you can put them on a wreath or on a garland, especially a wreath on your front door of your house. And it's got a timer on there, so when you set the timer, it will turn on for 6 hours and then turn off for 18. So every day, if you have it turn on at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it will stay on until 11 o'clock at night, and then automatically turn itself off and then turn back on at 5 o'clock the next day. So all throughout the holidays, you can have a battery pack with these LEDs that uses such a small amount of electricity. It'll basically last the entire holiday season from Thanksgiving until about the 1st of January on just those 2 batteries, and it will turn itself on and turn itself off throughout the entire holiday season, so you don't have to worry about it. So you can work this into a wreath and set it and leave it, and it'll just magically turn on and off, and use almost no electricity whatsoever to get those lights to run. So very nifty little gadget. These are very similar, except they've got a plug on them. And these new LED lights, these micro LEDs, they are completely waterproof, and so they can be outside, they can get snowed on, you can actually submerge them in water, and they use 3 watts of electricity, so they use hardly any electricity. And what I like about them is the color on the lights is so close to the incandescent that you almost can't tell. So a little bit closer spacing, so they're 3 inches apart instead of the 5 inches that you would normally see on traditional Christmas light sets. So there's in a 6-inch spacing, there's 3 lights instead of just 2. But look how close they are to the incandescent lights in color. I mean, they're in intensity. They're almost identical to those incandescent lights. And like I said, 3 watts of electricity. You don't ever have to replace the bulbs, and they're just nice, thin, fine wire that is going to be easy to work with. We've been lighting Christmas trees with them, and they're just so easy to work with because the comparison between the cords. Here's your standard LED, and look how much wiring there is to them. You've got a much heavier wire, and with these, it's very, very thin, so hardly any wiring to them at all, and minimal power consumption, beautiful color, so it's got a nice color to it, and these guys will last for 50,000 hours. So not only will they last longer than your standard LEDs, but they're waterproof. You can run them over with your car, and they're almost indestructible. The other real new innovation this year, I'm gonna see if I can plug this in here as well too. There we go. This is called a cluster light. Now the cluster lights are different, and they make decorating so easy and so simple, because instead of having, you know, a few lights every couple inches, this has lights every half inch, and so you've got a much thicker cluster of lights. So you can see that's the wiring right there. So instead of having one light every few inches, like on our standard mini LEDs, these have two lights every half inch, and they've got a little bit longer neck on them. And so these are amazing for lighting wreaths or lighting garlands, or you can actually use the whole set just as if it were a garland and put it on your mantle, or you know, drape it off of a shelf, and you can use it on a tree just to add a whole bunch of lights into your tree. But they're just so easy to work with, and the lights are all clustered together, and so it's almost like a garland of light, and that's the way we look at it. They come multicolored as well as the clear, and they're just so simple and so easy to work with, and again, use a minimal amount of electricity. The lights are submersible in water. They're virtually, you know, indestructible, and they last for about 50,000 hours. So the cluster lights, amazing new technology. And they come in a lot of different sizes as well too. So a lot of variability in how large of a set you need. We've got a bunch of different sizes in the cluster lights. So some great new innovations in Christmas lighting, and outdoor and indoor holiday lighting as well too. But you got to just come in and check out our new micro LEDs, because they really truly are amazing and will revolutionize the way we light during the holidays.